So let's start with today's lecture. Let me present the screen. Okay, are you able to see the screen? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's quickly have a recap of what we discussed in our previous lecture. We discussed about the while loop, the syntax for while loop, right? We discussed some small program in the while loop, a simple hello world program, how a while loop behaves, and a similar program using the if statement we discussed, right? And we also saw the flow chart for the while loop. And along with that, we discussed an annoying while loop, which is a kind of an infinite while loop, which keeps on uh, prompting a message to the user unless a right input is entered by the input function, right? And we saw the flowchart for that also. And then we ultimately saw a break statement, how a break statement behaves, what is the use of the break statement, and what happens when a break statement is executed, right? So we used the same program, the your name program, to use a while loop, and we incorporated a break statement into it and saw what is the how the flow of the program got changed, right? So in today's lecture, we'll be discussing about the continue statement, right? Continue statement, what is the syntax, what is the flowchart. Again, we'll have a simple example, simple program discussing how this continue statement is different from a break statement, right? So, like you already know, the break statement and the continue statement, they are usually used in the loop, different types of loops, right? While loop, do while loop, or maybe for loop. So the break statements and the continue statements, these are used inside the loops, right? So whenever a program executes and encounters these statements, break statement or uh, continue statement, it either skip the instructions, it gets either get out of the loop, or it continues the execution of the program, right? So like the name suggests, continue statement, what it does is, unlike break statement, the continue statement, once it encounters in the when the program execution, while executing the program, when a continue statement is encountered, the execution, the program execution immediately jumps back to the start of the loop, right? It goes back to the start of the loop and re-executes or re-evaluates the loop conditions, right? So unlike break statement, what break statement does, it breaks the loop, it gets out of the loop, and then starts executing the statement followed by the loop. But in the continue statement, it ignores the further statements and jumps back to the start of the loop and evaluates once again, right? So that is the major difference in the continue statement and a break statement. So we'll see what is the syntax, what how it can be used. So here is a simple program. Let's name it as a swordfish. So the simple program, what it does, it asks the user for its name, and if the name given by the user is correct, it will ask the user to enter the password. Right? The password can be anything. It is just you can say the access key, right? So let's say we have a while loop used here. While true, you can see here it is while true. That means this while loop is basically an infinite loop. The condition, there is no condition to be checked. It's a simple true statement, right? So which will be true all the time. It will never terminate by itself unless we terminate the loop. So we have a simple while statement, while condition that is true, which will be true all the time. And inside that while loop, what we are doing is we are first printing the uh, user with a statement to enter which name, like who are you? We are just prompting a message to the user, who are you? So the user, when the user enters the name using the input function, and if that name is not equal to Joe, So Joe is the fixed name is that is we are expecting from the user, that if the name is not a Joe, then the while loop again, and the while loop encounters the continue statement and the whole while loop is executed once again. So basically what it does, it keeps on prompting the user by the question that who are you. So unless the user enters the name as Joe, which is exactly how it is mentioned here, that is capital J followed by small letter O and E. Only then the further instructions, that is the if clause which is here, gets executed, right? Which is nothing but like if the name given is exactly the same which is expected, only then it prints hello Joe and what is the password, and in bracket it is a fish. It's a hint given to the user, right? So again, the user has to input the password, whatever the password is, and if that password is exactly equal to, right, it's a double equal to sign. That means if the password is exactly equal to swordfish, then it breaks the loop. It breaks the loop, right? It breaks the whole while loop and it gets out of the while loop, terminating the program. Right, so we'll see how it gets executed in our Python IDE. So those who have Python IDE installed, you can do it side by side. So let me open my Python ideally. Okay. So once I have my Python ideally open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file or a new window, and then okay, what we'll do is we'll just copy paste this whole thing so that we save time. So those who are using a laptop or PC right now, they can do along with me so that we all are on similar lines. And if you face any problem, let me know so that any specific problem that you're facing, we can resolve that same problem might arise to others also. So okay, so we are done with this. Make sure you indent these uh, instructions very properly, because this is a open loop, right? So inside loop, every instruction has to be properly indented. And once we do that, we have to save the file. Let's say we say save it as swordfish.py Python file. Okay. So I'll just press F5 to execute my code, and you can see here that it is printing who are you, right? So let's say I give my name, but it still gets back to the loop, right? So what it is doing is it is not executing the statement which is followed by the this continue statement, right? What it is doing, it is checking whether the name given is exactly what we have supplied in our program. Let me bring the program here also. Yeah. So as you can see here, so we have given this Joe name in the as the input for the name in the variable container name. And if the variable container name, that is whatever we are inputting here, once it is exactly equal to Joe, only then it will go on and print the next instruction. If it is not equal to the name which is Joe here, then it simply executes the instruction under the if statement, that is nothing but the continue. And what continue does, it go backs to the start of the while loop and starts the whole while loop once again, right? So what exactly here is happening is once I enter my name here, it is executing this continue statement, and continue is getting continued from the start of the while loop again. So that's why I'm able to see this print statement, that is who are you, again back to this, right? So notice here that when I enter let's say I enter Joe itself, but it's not in proper format. The initial letter, the J is in small letter, so which is not, which is again a wrong, right? Because it is a string that we are forwarding here. This is the string that we are assigning. So it is exactly the way it has to be. Uh, exactly the way it is into this single quote. So once I enter proper name, let's say I enter Joe. So only then it will ignore that continue statement, this continue statement, and it goes on and print the print statement here, which is hello Joe. What is the password? It is a fish. So once I have this statement here, let's say let me execute once again, and it says hello Joe. What is the password? So it's a fish. So once I enter what is the exact password, so it shows me access granted, right? So what happening here is now you can see how break statement is getting executed here. So once I have this right input entered, that is Joe, it will go on and print the print statement, hello Joe, what is the password? It's a fish. And it will ask me to print the password. So once I enter the password using input function, it gets stored in the variable name password, and it checks if password is equal to, that is it is exactly equal to swordfish. There shouldn't be any change in the case letters also, right? So once it is exactly equal to this, only then it gets inside the if loop, inside the if statement. It checks the condition that password is exactly swordfish, then it's correct, and it goes on and execute the break. So this break, what it is exactly doing is it is breaking the whole of this while loop, right? So this is our whole while loop, right? So continue, what continue is doing is it is bringing us back to the start of the while loop, and break, what break is doing is it is completely terminating the while loop and bringing us to the next statement after the while loop, which is a print command, right? And that print is access granted. So I think that this clarifies the use of the continue as well as the use of the break statement, right? So any doubt with respect to this? If you're not following anything, you can just unmute your mic. You can stop me anytime, because looking at chat box every now and then will not be possible. Yeah, please tell me if you have any doubt or the things are clear so far, so that we can proceed ahead. Sanket Patil, no doubt. So Satvik says no doubt. Okay, okay, good. So these are very basic things which you must have already come across, but maybe in other languages. So with respect to Python, so far there is not much difference, as you can clearly make it out. Right. So moving ahead, yeah. So this will be the flow chart of the program, right? This will be the whole flow chart. Yeah. So you can see here. Let me zoom it in. Okay. Just. Yeah. So this is what exactly we were doing. We started the program and the name folder was assigned with a blank or a null statement, a null string. It's not a double colon. Sorry, it's not a double quote. It's a two single quote which has nothing into it, right? So as you can see here, what we are doing is we are not checking. We are basically not checking any condition here. We are simply putting a condition true. So that means it is true every time. There is no specific condition to be checked. It's a simple true function which will evaluate that while loop, which will execute that while loop infinite number of times unless we explicitly terminate the while loop, right? So as you can see, the condition is always true. There is no chance or there is no possibility that this false path, this path which is denoted by a cross mark here, this path will never get executed, right? So if this while loop has to be terminated, it has to be through any explicitly by using the break command. So what happens when we check whether it's true? So it gets into this infinite loop, and when it is true, it directly prints us that who are you. And once the input is given, it again checks whether the name is exactly equal to Joe. If it is not equal to Joe, the condition here is name is not equal to Joe. So if the name is not equal to Joe, if it is true, then continue, right? So it again goes to the start of the while loop. And once this condition is false, that is name is equal to Joe, then it prints hello Joe. What is the password? It's a fish. And it again prompts the user to put the password, to enter the password, which get stored in the variable password itself. And in the next step, it checks whether the password is exactly equal to the string which is given, which is supplied to the variable password, which is the swordfish. So once it checks that the password is exactly equal to this, then it is true, and it executes the command, which is a break statement under this if statement, and it breaks this while loop and ultimately prints the access. If the condition is false, it again go back to the while loop and prints again who are you. Right, so it's a simple execution step, as you can see. So now moving ahead, let's see. Okay, so here is just an example. This is just an example of how it gets executed, right? So here is an example which author says that when the program outputs that who are you, then the user enters I am fine, thank you, who are you? So which is not the expected input from the user. So it again goes back to the loop and prints who are you. So the user says Joe, which is exactly what was expected, right? So then the program outputs executes the printf statement to output hello Joy, what is the password? So it is a fish, and the Joy enters something different. He enters Mary. Then it what it does it executes the continue statement here. This is what happening here. The continue command is getting executed, and it is actually going back to the start of the while loop and printing the statement who are you again. So it has to the Joe has to now do this steps again. So once the Joe enters what exactly is expected, ultimately he gets the message access granted and the while loop is terminated. So this is just another example of the same continue and break statement. So now let's see how a for loop and the range function differs. What are these for loop? For loop, you all already know how a for loop executes, right? So, but how is it different from a range function? What are the things which are similar to for loop in range function? Though they might do the same task, but there is a small difference of how a for loop and a range function differs, right? So what is common in both of them is the both I mean the while loop and the range function, they execute a block of code for only a certain number of times, right? So when we define a for loop, we define a value for iterations, right? I value, I is less than or equal to something. So what we are doing is we are predefining the number of times the loop has to execute, right? Or the instructions under that loop, inside that loop, will get executed. So range function is also somewhat like that. It also get executed to a certain number of times. So this is a general format for a for function, right? For a for statement, it will look something like this: that for I in range 5 followed by a colon. So as you can see, the for is a keyword. There is a variable name I, and then we have an in as a keyword, right? Please note here, in is a keyword and for is also a keyword. Then range followed by a parenthesis, opening and closing parenthesis, is a function or a method. So it's also a predefined function. and anything written inside that is actually a for clause, right? So the next line, which will be followed by this for statement, uh, the following block of code is also called as the for clause. So let's have a program called a program which gets executed 5 times. So let's name this program as 5 times. Okay, and it's a simple program. What it does, it simply uh, prints whatever the name that you give 5 times, right? So let's have a simple execution of it. So let me open my Python IDE, create a new file, and let's say I save this file as 5 times itself. So those who are doing with me, you can take your time. If you're facing any problem, you can let me know. So let's say we name this file as 5times.py and save it. And I press F5 to execute. And you can simply see here that my name is getting 5 times printed again. So just to show you how is this range getting executed, I have just used index to denote that what is the value of I for that particular iteration, right? So we'll just go to the code and we'll see what is happening here. As you can see, the first statement is a simple printf statement which says my name is. That's it. And the next line is actually a for statement and a range command, the range function, right? So for I number of times in range 5 followed by a colon. This is the syntax for a for statement and a range function, right? For I in range 5. So what it is checking is, as the name suggests, range, it is checking for the range up till 5. And every time it satisfies the condition, we print the statement Jimmy 5 times. This exactly is the statement, right? So inside single quotes, what we are doing, we are printing the statement Jimmy 5 times and followed by the string of the number integer I, right? So integer, the variable I contains an integer value, right? So we are printing that value in the form of an integer, because as we have seen in the previous lecture, what we are doing is we are concatenating a string value with an integer value. So because these two are two different data types, we cannot concatenate them as it is. We have to convert the integer value into a string value by using a simple string function, right? Inbuilt string function. So this is what exactly we are doing here. We are concatenating this string, that is Jimmy 5 times, with a integer by converting that integer into a string using string function. So let's say our I has 0, I is equal to 0, right? So print Jimmy 5 times 0 is what the first statement will look like. And then it will also increment, the range function will also increment that value, and the next time the I value will be 1. So which is again within the range of 5, I is less than 5. So it checks the condition and it sees that the condition is true. It goes on and executes this uh, for clause, which is a printf statement that Jimmy 5 times. But here now this time the value of string I is will be equal to 1, right? It will be integer 1, which will be converted into a string 1 and concatenated and printed. So similarly, and then again incremented to 2, so on up till 4, right? Because we started off with the index I is equal to 0, at the moment I is equal to 4 will be the last time the print statement will get executed. And after this, when the I gets incremented to 5, the range, we hit the range and we get out of the for loop, thereby terminating the loop, right? So that's what exactly is happening here. As you can see, that first it executes the statement my name is, and then for I is equal to 0, it prints Jimmy 5 times, and 0 is the value of the I here. This is I have demonstrated just to so that we have a trace of what value are we operating on now. Right? Right. So next time it gets incremented to 1, it is still within the range. It prints Jimmy 5 times 1, then followed by 2, 3, 4 again. Now here, after it prints this statement Jimmy 5 times 4, the value of I is incremented to 5, but when we check for the for loop, when we check the range in the for loop, we have reached the maximum range, that is 5, and it terminates the for loop without entering into the loop, and thereby not printing Jimmy 5 times value 5, right? So that's the reason we are not getting the fifth line, that is Jimmy 5 times 5, right? So here is the flow chart for this. We start the program by printing a simple printf statement, my name is. We get into a for loop with the range 5, right? For I in range 5, right? So here you can see as the I is declared as the same time initialized, right? So for I in range 5, we are looping the printf statement. We are looping until we reach the maximum range, which is 5. So we reach till I is equal to 4, and when we go back to check the for condition, we hit the maximum range 5, and we get out of this for loop, we get out of this range, and then we end the loop. So again, a simple statement, and this is what exactly we saw as the output here, right? As you can see, this was the exact output that we saw, right? So here's a note given that you can use break as well as continue statement inside for loop as well, right? So we can use break statement or a continue statement inside this for loop also, right? So any doubt so far? Anybody? I can see only a fixed number of students responding that they are following up. I don't know others have not been attentive or are in doubt. Okay, anybody, if you feel any kind of doubt, you can unmute your mic and you can stop me anytime and ask me doubt anytime, right? Because if you don't answer, I will not understand whether you are getting these things or you are falling back, right? And if you're not clear with these basics, maybe then as and when we proceed further, it will be a little difficult for you to understand. So if you have any kind of doubt, I would request to ask. Okay, so Akshata has a doubt that Akshata says, sir, you told the similarities, but what's the difference between a range and a for? Yes, so that's what is the next topic that brings us to that how is it different from the range and for, right? So basically you can see range is the function that we are using in the for loop, right? We are making use of the range function in the for loop. But how is it different from for loop? So that's what we are going to see in the next section. That is how a range is different than a for loop. As the name suggests, range, right? What is the meaning of a range? Can anybody tell me? A simple meaning, a dictionary meaning, or your understanding of a range. Limits, okay. Others? Anybody else want to add or have a different answer or want to be more precise? What is a range? In a simple terms, what is a range? Variation. Not exactly, Prajit. You can say a bracket that allows us to variate, you can say, but not a variation. Maybe you're partially right. Breakpoint. Okay, breakpoint can be you can say a minimum limit or a maximum limit within the range. But I am asking, what is that range? What the meaning of the range is? Variation between an upper and lower limit. Exactly. Yes. Now you are close. Satvik is have improvised the definition given by Prajit and have come up to more closer definition of what a range can be. Right. So variation between an upper and a lower limit, a lower point, or you can say a variation. A range is nothing but something which has a start point and an end point, and a bracket you can say in which we play, right? So that's a range or a bound or boundary. So that's what brings us to the next section of our discussion, that what is range, how the ranges are different, right? So let's say I have a range. Okay, so here, before we get into what facilities or other features range gives us, here is a similar program what we just discussed, Jimmy 5 times, which we used using a for loop. But here you can see we are doing the similar thing using a while loop. So before going on to what is the exact difference between these loops and a range function, let's understand how a while loop can make use of this range, right? How this same output we can get using a while statement. So here is a simple program. Print my name is, where we initialized I is equal to 0, and while I is less than 5, right? While I is less than 5, then print Jimmy 5 times, and then again the value of that I present in it in the form of a string concatenation. That's what we are doing here. And then once it executes this, we increment I value by 1. So as you can clearly make it out, the output will remain same. Whatever the output that we got, let me open the output. So this is exactly what we see output, but this was using a for loop, and this is the equivalent while loop for the same program, you can say. So what we have done is we have just rewrite this program, the 5 times.py program, into a while loop instead of a for loop. Right. So now this brings us to what your next question was, right? So what is range, right? The starting, the stopping, and the stepping arguments to range. What is the facility or a features that a range function provides us? How is it different from these basic looping statements that we have learned so far? So we, as the name suggests, we have the starting point or a stopping point or a stepping argument. Stepping will allow us to step or jump to a specific instruction, right, within the range. So let's have a simple program printed. Okay, since the output is already here, uh, we'll just discuss this program. That it's a simple for loop program, for loop, which has a variable I in range 12 to 16. So you can spot a difference in range here, that in our previous program, that is the 5 times, we just gave range value as 5, right? So let me show you the program. Um, yes. So here is the program. As you can see that in the range function, we used only the value as 5, right? Range followed by only one single parameter, that is 5. And it goes on executing the instruction inside that for loop for these many number of times. Now, unlike the later part, this range function, as you can see, we are passing two parameters, right? So as you can clearly make it out, these parameters are nothing but a starting point and a stopping point, and lower limit and an upper limit, right? So here a simple for loop, what it does, it prints the value of the I, so on till we reach the value 12. And once we reach the value 12, that is, we see it is within the range, only then we get inside the for loop and print the value inside I, and we do this exact repetition unless we hit the upper limit, which is 16 here, right? So as you can see here, the value of I, let's say it starts with 0, but till the value of I gets to 11, it will not get printed. But when the value of the I turns to 12, we see that value in the output, and so on till we reach the 15. Now, once it prints the value 15 present in variable I, it increments the value of I, which goes to 16, and then when it go back to check the range, it says that we have already hit the upper bound, that is 16, and it terminates the for loop, right? So here you can see the range function can also take input as a 3 argument. So this was an example of a 2 argument being passed to the range function. And in the previous example, we saw that we were passing only 1 argument, right? And now we shall see how we can use this range function to supply 3 arguments at a time and see what are these 3 arguments, what are we doing, what are we trying to do with 3 arguments, right? So when we have only 1 value or 1 parameter passed to the range function, it is nothing but by default, it is the upper limit that we are giving in the range function, right? When we are passing 2 value to the range function, it is basically the first argument that we are passing is the start point. The second argument is a stop point, or a start value or a stop value. But let's see another example wherein we are making use of the same function, the same for loop for I in range 0, 10, and 2. So we are passing 3 values here to the range function, which by default means that 0 is the start point, 10 is the upper limit, that is the stop point, and 2 is a stepping argument or a step argument. So when we encounter, let's demonstrate. Let's see with respect to this what we do, what we see here when we encounter this step argument, right? So first 2 argument will be the start and stop values, and the third argument will be a step argument. So you can see here, so calling the range function 0, 10, 2, we count from 0 to 8 by interval of 2. So this step argument, what it is doing is, it is, you can see it's a gap or a period or an interval that is allowing the range function to execute with respect to this gap, right? So whenever a value satisfies this condition of 2 gaps or 2 intervals, only then the print command will get executed, right? So just to demonstrate, let's say we execute this program in our shell. Right, and I'll name it as range function .py. So when I execute this, okay, just hold on, let me clear this off. When I execute this, you can see the range that we have given is 0 to 10, but the interval or the step argument is 2, right? So the output that we are getting is 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8, which you can clearly make it out that all the even numbers are printed, right? So since we have given this the step argument as 2, all the even numbers are getting printed. Had we put give this argument as 3 or anything, let's say 3, then all the numbers with the gap of 3 will get printed, right? So 0, then 3, then 6, and so on. And when it encounters, let's say here, you can see that after 8, though our range is 10, we don't see 10 getting printed here. The reason being when I encounters 9, it wants to print 9, but since we have step argument of 2, it will not print 9. Instead, it will increment the I value to 10, and when it encounters 10, the we hit the range and we get out of the for loop. Right? So range gives us that facility to print on an interval basis or a step basis or a periodical on periodical basis, right? Similar program you can see here with respect to negative numbers. So range starts from 5. The upper limit is -1. As you can see here, the start point is 5. The stop value is -1, and the interval is -1. So 5 -4 -3 -4 -2 -1, so on up till 1, so on up till 0. And when it encounter -1, it gets out of the loop, right? So as you can see here, that will be the output that we will able to see, right? So I hope that this answers your question, like how this range function is different from the simple for a loop or a while loop. So far everything clear? Akshata, did this clear the doubt? Am I clear? Yes. Please put it into the comment section, or you can unmute and tell me. No doubt. Okay. So, okay, Vibha says yes, so clear. But the person who has raised the question has not yet answered. Akshata, are you still clear or still in doubt? Anyways, okay, so let's conclude the lecture here. Meantime, I would request you to make a note of all these things. And once you come back on the first day when you return here to college, those notes will be your first assignment that you have to submit. Okay, so practice a similar type of programs, similar such questions, experiment out with different values, with using different types of loops and condition statements, so that you have a better idea and a better hang of it, right? So utilize your Sunday practicing these programs, these simple programs. As I've already given you this off copy of test book, you can exercise out the similar types of program so that your understanding gets improved, right? So if you don't have any doubt, we will conclude the lecture. Okay. Yeah, so you can leave the lecture. Thank you.